Chapat, you had text me, brother. I don't know exactly what you was talking about, so I hit you up. You ain't answer. So, what you talking about?
Yeah, I got somebody hit me, was like, I guess they was in a separate chat, and some people was trying to associate me with the BHI group. Some people was talking about revoke my conversion. I don't know what. Just some cats who just hit me on that, like, you know what I'm saying, just kind of keep me informed of what was going on. So I don't know what. I'm not sure what's happening, but I just wanted to hit you up on the back end to see what was going on with the private conversation. So I jumped into the chat to see how things were going in here, because I was hearing that I was trying to be grouped up with certain groups. My job is only to try to help best as I can, as far as edification and education. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole objective, and that's why I hit you up, like, yo, what's going on with what's being said. But then you called me. I was already in the chat when you called me.
Yeah, I found that out. I found that out later. So, I honestly on mute. On mute. Not you. Yo, respect. Just I was just trying to understand, because you know what I'm saying. You text me out of nowhere and then you said chill out. So I'm confused why you hit me saying chill out. What have we
I
done
don't know if that was you or
that was
whoever was in the
wrong?
other chat. I just know it was in another chat saying that the chat you guys started had me associating me with the BHI group,
Nope,
and
that's incorrect. See,
I don't
if
know
you
what
look
happened. I was just hitting you up because you know a person I kind of know that I've been speaking to.
I got you,
So,
bro. So if you look at the dude at the bottom, if you look towards the bottom, and excuse my children in the background, if you look towards the bottom, there's a guy named Andrew, right? And he has
yeah.
the Israeli flag in there.
What's up,
Now
yo?
the room that he was in is the one that actually said Amar'e Stoudemire is a BHI.
That
Now,
is correct.
you know, you see that?
That's
So,
actually incorrect. I'm not a
Sir, I
BHI. I'm
know.
not sure why you said
I'm
that.
just responding to the gentleman. It
so
was mentioned in that
one
room
second,
as
Andrew.
a statement.
One
Some
second,
people did
Andrew.
say that.
One
Andrew,
second, Andrew.
mute your mic. Andrew, mute
Andrew,
your
one
mic.
second. I'm just
Let
having.
Yawasop finish with Yehoshaphat, and then we're gonna continue to
Yeah,
build.
so I'm
Go ahead,
just letting you
Yawasop.
know, brother Yehoshaphat, that we did not dirt your name up. We did not associate you with us. We didn't do none of that. We had a beautiful interview,
Right.
and as soon as that beautiful interview was finished, uh, the uh, the people associated with Andrew created a room and started to put slander on your name. So I just wanted to create the distinction that, bro, that's not us, bro. You good on our side, and we're here to protect you, brother. We not here to slander you. We not here to put any dirt on your name, bro. That's
Right.
not gonna come from our side, bro. We
So Andrew,
brothers.
can you speak on why you would say that?
Oh, no, sir, I did not. There's people in the room. And by the way, I want to say also thank you for giving me this chance to chat. There were people in the room that did say that they believed that you were part of BHI, and others said that there's no information showing that you were. So just to
So
be clear,
who's these people that are saying that? Like, how'd you guys
oh,
start
it's
another
people.
room and came up with that assumption?
Yeah, I didn't start the room. I mean, people, as you know, if you're new to Clubhouse, you know, people are going to come up with crazy stuff all the time. So people did. There was a suggestion that you were BHI, and other people said there's no information to that. So it's not clear. But what the room was more about was the concern that some of the statements that you were making in that room were dangerous to Jews, such as yourself and myself.
The lady name was Alumni. Alumni was the
Sure.
lady's name. That's what her name was.
Sure,
And
very good.
she was saying a lot of negative things about you and making up stuff. I told her that she cannot bear false witness, and I'm not even an Israelite. I'm just a Christian. And she was saying a lot of negative things. And I was trying to
Right.
tell her that that's not what was happening.
Yeah, that's
Right.
correct.
So Andrew, I'm
Okay,
sure
D, real
you're
quick. I
associated
want
with
the
this
brother
lady.
because he had there's something he wanted to say. He was getting to
Thank you.
something. Why
Yeah.
Thank you.
Andrew was making that
Yeah, thank you,
statement.
sir.
So I want to continue to build.
For instance, some of the statements made in the earlier room, for instance, you say that anti-Semitism is about Semites. It's not. It's a defined term about Jews. It was a word used to negatively define Jews as they were trying to kill us. So it has nothing to do with Semites. It was a man who started that. Anyone can look into that. So that's the kind of thing the room was about. Is some of the statements that were made in that room that were factually incorrect. For instance,
I don't know if I agree with that, because Semite is a abbreviation of Semitic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But
So
I'm just saying
I
the name.
thought that
I hear
was,
you. I hear
and
you. I'm
that's
just saying that how the word was invented someone used the word Semite because of the language group that Jews and other people are in, but the word means hatred for Jews. It does not mean hatred for Semites, if that makes sense.
Well, no one ever
No, it
clarified that.
doesn't.
That's my
No
first
problem,
time
sir.
hearing
No,
that.
that's what I'm saying is there's people pro and con in that room, and as Dee said, it did get a little crazy. So people were just concerned that some of the things that you were saying, people were listening to and saying, "Oh, that's what that means." Like I'll
One
encourage
second.
anybody to look up the history of the word anti-Semite. And they'll know I'm not lying to you. I'm honestly not lying.
This is exactly what happened to Kyrie. Hold
Yep.
on 1 second. 1 second. Let me say it. Let me say it. Because that's the point. This is what we're talking about right here. Now, I want to make sure when they say that Yehoshaphat or Amar'e Stoudemire is not associated with the BHI movement, I want to make sure everybody in the room understand that the Israelites are not associated with the BHI movement. The BHI
Right.
movement,
Right.
the BHI
Con.
movement was created by people of the likes of Andrew. I want to make sure I say that clean. And then they just framed what someone looks like
Propaganda.
and then demonize it. So it's as if you build a straw man and then you just beat it down. And pay attention, everybody. We had a beautiful conversation with our brother in the last room in an interview. It left off well with him. It left off well with us. We had small differences towards the end, but we also made light of it. We laughed and joked and said, hey, we're going to do another interview about this. We all laughed and joked. After that, it progressed into this after party room. Then we had people that are not Israelites in faith, in nationality, nothing, go off and then create distinctions and divisions from things that we agreed on. Nobody badmouth Yehoshaphat. Yehoshaphat didn't badmouth us. Nobody is associated with the BHI movement. That is over there with the Jewish people and over there with those Europeans. I just
And I
want to
think
make sure
that's
that that's crystal clear
right. And I
because
think that's the issue. That's the issue also because it sounds like the lady was saying revoke my conversion, and she went all the way to the extreme and got very hatred. That's the reason why hatred happens because because from her standpoint, she's not even being considerate of how the conversation went or look at anything positive came out of the conversation. She went straight to the negative and went
right.
all the way off track to try to demonize someone's name to the point where she's associating me with things and we should revoke this and we should do that. Like Andrew, who is this lady? And I mean,
Oh, I
is
don't
she?
know. I don't know who that lady is, but the conversation about revoking the conversion, and there's by the way, there's another woman who came in to say, I personally referred to you as someone asked who you were. It was an Israeli that didn't know who you were, and I said who you were. He converted to Judaism. Or I think I said he's a convert, and she corrected me to say, well, he's a Jew. He's not a convert. I said you're absolutely correct. You're a Jew. You're not a convert. So the conversation, sir, was about more so if someone does convert in a way that does not go along with historically how and why people converted, can that conversion be rescinded? And
Hold
there's a
on.
discussion about the history of that.
Can I
Hold
say
on.
that's not what the
Hold on,
conversation
D.
Hey,
was
It
about?
was
One
exactly what it was
second.
about.
Can I say
One
what it
second,
was
D.
about? Because I
Some
was
some
there. I'm
did want
sorry.
to
One second.
One second.
conversion rescinded.
One
That is true.
second.
Some did say
Andrew,
that.
Andrew, 1 second. Everybody, bring it down because we're gonna have this conversation because it's on the stage now, and that's what we do. We don't run from no smoke or no excellent bills. So I just want to make sure everybody understand this conversation is going to be had. I just want to make sure we point out the bigger issue of this matter is that an excellent conversation was had, and the brother is getting framed in a negative way. I want to know anybody from the likes of a different persuasion, being Andrew or any others, do you feel that this brother should have been framed in the way that that room framed him? Yes or
no,
no?
To answer the question, no. I never brought up two.
no.
I
I
want
I
to
would
and
ask
say
I want
that
to
Andrew.
say
room,
this.
I want
I
to
want
ask
to say
Andrew.
this
Salakia,
clean.
Salakia, 1 second. I
Uh,
just want to say that room sounds like it was anti-Semitic.
and
Yeah, it definitely was, but I want to ask
Yes, sir.
Andrew. Andrew, you
Yes,
haven't
sir.
unmuted. Did he deserve to be framed in that way after such an wait, Andrew, did you hear the bill that we had on the God First Game platform where we just interviewed Amar'e
Yeah,
Stoudemire?
I listened.
Did you
Yeah,
hear that room?
I did listen to it. Yes, I did.
Did you listen from the beginning to the end?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you feel that he should have been framed in the way that that room was framing him? Because I have replays in my back chat.
No, that's
King
great.
Ben,
It's a good
he's on the
question.
stage. He's the king of clips. So I'm telling you right now,
Oh yeah, yeah.
if
I'm hoping you
anybody
saved it. That's
say,
fine.
wait, hold on. If anybody say anything in this room against what they said in that room, King Ben is gonna play the clip of that room, and it's going to be a witness of what you said or what anybody else said. I just want you to know that.
No,
And I
no, thank
haven't
you.
even communicated with King Ben to see what clips he got. So I just want to make sure you understand how we move over here on the God
No, that's
First
good.
Gang
No, that's good.
platform.
That's good. I mean,
So
receipts are the
let's
best
be
way.
realistic. Let's
Yes, sir.
be
I hear you.
realistic.
I hear you.
All
I
right.
hear
So
you.
did Amar'e Stoudemire deserve to be framed that way after that beautiful interview? Yes or no?
That's impossible to say yes or no. I think some of the things he said were incorrect, and people pointed out that some of the things that were factually incorrect. Did he deserve to have a question
That
about
that
his
that wasn't the
conversion
question.
process? I
That
don't know if
wasn't the
that's
question.
Yeah,
Andrew, that
Corey,
yes
can
wasn't
or
the
I
no.
question.
clear?
but
Can
it's
I
not yes or
clarify
no. It's
D
not.
something?
D
Yes
D
or
sister,
no.
just be patient.
Yes or no is not answering the question
Yes, I think I'll say it like this.
because he
Yes,
didn't
he did,
harm.
and the
He
things he
didn't.
said that were incorrect, sir. But no, he
Oh,
did not, and the
well,
things he did
I
not say.
listen.
Wow.
Hold on.
Mm.
First and foremost, the title offended me. You know why? Because every time this the discussion happens, this is what takes place. He never said he was BHI out of his mouth
Right.
one time. He never said that. So, according to how we're supposed to appropriate ourselves in this faith, there's a such thing as thou shalt not bear false witness. And you're bearing false witness on this brother's name because he never affiliated himself with us. And as a matter of fact,
Or
me
BHIs. He
or
never did.
BHI, he never did.
Sir, to be
And
clear,
as a
I
matter
never said he
and
did.
hold on. As a matter of fact, the whole world knows his faith, and he's been in this faith for a long time. He left the NBA and they embraced him in Israel. So for people who are trying to, strain at a gnat right now, you're swallowing a camel. And this is just wrong for you to say yes and no and then say, oh, well, yes. Like you don't even sound like you believe what you're saying.
No, I do,
Like, can
sir.
you be
I think
honest?
it's
I
a
just think
nuanced
I think it's
discussion, and
very
it deserves
hypocritical.
nuanced answers.
Yeah,
But
I
I
just
just
want to
think,
make one quick point if
hold
I
on real
could,
quick. I'm gonna
Salaki.
make a quick
Hey,
point.
y'all get in.
I just
Y'all
think it's
just
very
one at a
hypocritical.
time. One at a time, brothers, and we're
I
gonna have
got you.
a conversation.
No sweat. I just think it's very hypocritical. That's all I want to say, man. Like, how are you saying yes or no? The brother doesn't deserve backlash for his faith and his opinion, bro. And that's the problem.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask
Everybody
Andrew a
else.
question.
Go ahead, sir.
If you don't mind me asking Andrew a question. Out of that conversation that you witnessed, what was inaccurate and what did I say that you and the lady thought was inaccurate?
Got you. Thank you. Inaccuracies, for instance, as we just talked about, the definition of anti-Semitism, that was inaccurate. The
Now
statement that
would that be two would that be two assumptions? Because I think
no, I was saying the
a
other
lot of
one.
time a lot of times when I made the statement back in 2000, I think it was 2020, 21, when I said that I think someone else I think one of the football players made a considered anti-Semitic slur, and I went on my Instagram. It's still on my Instagram story when I said that African Americans have an identity crisis, and we if we say anything anti-Semitic, then we're also showing our ignorance. But I didn't hear anything from the community stating that that was inaccurate when it comes to anti-Semitic slur. So now I'm hearing this all of a sudden. So that's why I'm a bit confused.
No, I hear you, and I was not around then, so I can't speak to that. I'm just saying in that room, that was one of the
Okay,
things that was mentioned. The other one was your statement about the Judeans. I have the exact quote here. I'm sorry, sir. One sec. A lot of Judeans went into the slave trade. That is factually inaccurate.
that is
What
not
is a,
inaccurate.
what? But what is a
That's proven
lot?
by the
Like for
rabbinical
instance,
court in Nigeria. It says 70% of the Nigerian slaves that left out of Nigeria were from the Judean regions, from the Igbo tribes. There's been proof stating that
so
the
okay,
Igbo
maybe so
tribes.
perhaps so you're
There's
saying,
been proof
sir.
stating that the
Let me
Igbo tribes
understand.
are
You're saying that
okay.
by you say went into the slave trade. You were saying because this might have been taken incorrectly. It was taken in the room by meaning that Judeans, meaning Jews, were involved in the selling of slaves. You mean Judeans from Africa were taken? In your opinion, Judeans
That's
from
what I said.
Africa were
I
taken.
said the Judeans were taken into slavery by the Atlantic slave trade,
Gotcha.
meaning
And the reason why that
meaning
was
they were taken.
I hear you.
meaning
And
they
the
were
reason why
taken
that was
captive.
misunderstood, sir, is because the video and the book in question that Kyrie was talking about blamed Jews for the slave trade. So I think that's why there's
I
those
don't know.
two
I don't
things
know what
are.
I don't know. But the
Wait.
question that was asked
No,
to
it
me
didn't.
about
No, it didn't.
the question
That's
that
a
was
lie.
asked to
Yo,
me about
wow.
the question that was asked to me about the transatlantic slave trade, I mentioned pretty clear that the
Right.
Judeans that were taken from Africa was taken to the Americas by slave trade. I didn't say
Right.
anything about who was in charge of it. I did say that that the transatlantic slave trade was a business and it was more so for money, but I did not discuss on who was a part of that whole business. I was speaking only about the Judeans being taken from Africa into the Americas.
Yes. And you're
Right.
and yes, and I understand
So
that now,
my
but it was
concern,
part of the
my
Kyrie discussion though, right? It was part of that
I don't know. We're
discussion.
talking about a documentary, but my whole concern is that how you and the lady can take my words and then try
Yep.
to flip those around and associate me with the Kyrie statement. I openly spoke to said publicly about how I feel about Kyrie and what he did and what the documentary consists of. I also spoke about that on the chat that you witnessed, and then we talked about the transatlantic slave trade, how the Judeans were taken from Africa into the Americas. So I don't understand how you and your lady friend can get that
So
misconstrued
she and
and
I
then
might.
try to.
No, I was not along with her, and I'm in this room because I do want to have a discussion with you. So I'm not. Please don't put
Okay.
me with her. I'm just saying the reason why I brought this up is because in the discussion you guys had before, it was discussion about Kyrie is specifically brought up, and the video and the book, and the next question was then response was about the Judeans. So as people made the assumption that if we're talking about Kyrie's suggestion and endorsement of the book and the documentary that suggested that Jews in America were heavily related for um, the slave trade. That is why I think people were somewhat concerned about that. But if we're hearing now that
But
you
no, but
weren't
that's
meaning
but
that,
don't you see the problem with that?
well, I hear that yes, if the assumption is that people made that as an incorrect assumption, I'm more than happy to go back and say he did not say that.
Yeah, but to the point of making the assumption led to someone saying, these harsh words and having this crazy conversation about
Exactly.
me
Yeah,
privately.
and that's why we have to
Like
talk about it
Right.
because now we know.
that's what
Yes,
happens
sir. That's why we're talking
that's what
about it.
happens in the court of law. Like a lot of innocent people are incarcerated because of assumptions made, and people
Right.
somewhat perceive their own truth based upon someone else's assumptions.
Which is why I'm glad we're talking about it because this conversation could get on the real world, right? And people could say that you said some terrible things and then you have to defend it. And it's a nuanced, very difficult discussion. I'm glad that you're able to say here that you don't necessarily, I'm hearing you say at least, that you don't have an opinion or you weren't saying that
Salakia.
Jews were involved in the slave trade. I want to make sure I do
Hey,
not.
I just want to say that like bearing false witness, backbiting, tailbearing, these are all against Torah, and I don't understand why anyone of the real faith and any Torah keeper would be even part of these discussions. This is confusing to me.
Well, a lot of times too, a lot of people are not actually religious. I mean, people, they're not really holding by the Torah. So most religious Jews are holding by the Torah, and they make sure they don't bear false witness. But every Jewish person does not hold by the Torah.
That
Yep.
is correct. Like I'm not a religious Jew. So
Hey,
I,
So
I
D,
that's so that's
D,
why that's why the assumptions
we're
happen,
gonna
and then
let you get in there, sis. Just hold on.
being able to assume that someone said something is easy for you guys to say because you guys are not religious per se.
perhaps I'm going to drop
But
off the
that's
stage because I
dangerous.
don't
That's
want to
very
dominate the
dangerous.
conversation.
Hey, Andrew, wait,
Yes, sir.
Andrew. Before you drop, can you hear me, Andrew?
Yes, sir. Of course.
Now, do you challenge his position on the Judeans going into slavery?
I'm not going to
Yes or
get
no?
involved with that. That's not
All right.
that's not
No
one.
problem, Andrew.
Excellent
So
question.
what I this is
I'm
this
more
is
than happy to have
this
that
is what I
conversation in like in
wait,
a long
Andrew.
form, but not in a
Andrew,
quick.
no
Yes, sir.
problem. And the reason why I wanted to say that is because if you don't challenge his position on what he actually said on the God First Game platform in the interview, then I feel like you also played a role in framing that he was wrong and not true. Even in the chats, you made comments on that he was wrong. So
Yeah, I, I,
now,
I personally,
hold
I
on.
personally have some
So
questions
can
about
you at
that, but that's
least can you at least give him an apology
sure.
for also being a part of the
No. I'm
individuals
just
who
no,
was
sir. I'm just
framing
saying
his
I'm not
position?
getting this. If you'd like to have that conversation now, I just think that
I'm
that's a big
I'm not
conversation to
talking
have.
about that part of the conversation. I'm saying you assume that he was talking about a
Oh, got you.
thing when
Yes,
he
yes.
was not
That's the part
talking
about
about that.
Judeans.
And your
Yes,
assumption,
yes.
hold on, Andrew. Your assumption led you to make affirmative statements in the chats and on the stage.
That's correct.
I'm asking you now because I'm quite sure you made those same affirmative statements in that chat and on that stage in that other room. I'm asking you now, can you at least give the brother an apology?
Oh, I already did.
As
First thing
a
I said
man
is I
who
apologize for
deserves an apology.
Yeah, hey, that's not
You
Andre.
never
I'll say
said the word apologize.
Oh, I did, but I'll say it again right now. I apologize for misunderstanding your meaning and taking in the context of Kyrie. It's unfortunate, and I apologize for that. But I will say, I understand. I took it meaning like that because that's the context of the Kyrie endorsement. But if
No,
you
it's
didn't
not.
say that,
That's
I'll make
not
sure. And listen,
not the
Andre, I'll
entire
make sure.
context.
Yes,
That's
sir. I'll
not the
make sure I
entire
go back and
context.
correct that. I'll correct that. 'Cause
Andrew,
that's
sorry,
yes,
bro,
sir.
but that's not the entire context of the Kyrie situation. And I'm not really concerned with all of that with the Kyrie situation. My only concern and conversation was based upon that the Judeans were taken from Africa as slaves and brought to America. That's all I was saying. I just want you to know that.